Warning: any copying, distribution, or public performance of this audio is strictly prohibited and may subject the offender to civil and severe criminal penalties. The $1 Million Round Table does not guarantee the accuracy of tax and legal matters and is not liable for error or omission. You are urged to check with tax and legal professionals in your state, province, or country. The MDRT also suggests you consult local insurance and security regulations and your company's compliance department pertaining to the use of any new sales material with clients. Copyright 2010 $1 Million Round Table, top of the table. Collaboration Matters, the pathway to mega sales. Albert E. Gibbons, CLU, CHFC.
Gentlemen, please welcome back Kevin Casey.
Welcome back, everybody. One of our speakers mentioned to me that in an effort to make the setting a bit more intimate, perhaps as we find out what we've really got here in the room after everybody returns, that people could move up closer to the front and get a little more gathered and clumped in here. That'd be great. Today, Al Gibbons will provide a definition of high-performance collaboration and a step-by-step outline of this approach to sales. He will show you the results that collaboration can produce through several case studies that he calls mega sales. Al is a 23-year MDRT member with 1 Court of the Table and 11 Top of the Table qualifications. He also developed the 80-20 estate plan, which emphasizes an effective estate planning process that results in clients taking action and achieving the desired results. Please welcome the #1 Phillies fan I've seen in the room today, Al Gibbons. Malcolm Pitt.
Good morning, Top of the Table. The program committee has asked me to speak for about 20 minutes this morning on a collaborative process for making very large sales. And I'm grateful for this opportunity because over the years, I've gained so much from the giants in our industry, and sharing is what it's all about. So thank you for this opportunity. Many years ago, when I lectured at the university level on Renaissance and Reformation history, the college students called me the Jet. Well, we have a lot of material to cover in a very short period of time, and I hope I won't have to talk that fast. I always work as part of a team. I always collaborate with other professionals who invite me to work in designing and implementing sophisticated life insurance solutions for their high net worth clients. When I do that, I need to consult. Not sell, but to advise. And the advisors who invite me to work with their clients expect a couple of qualities. #1, that I'm competent. I would define that by saying knowing what I'm supposed to know. Also that I have integrity, putting the client's best interest first, and then maybe some of those referability habits that Dan Sullivan has taught us. In that process, I need to collaborate. I was at a meeting in Chicago several years ago, and there were 50 estate planning professionals around the table in that conference room. 60% were probably trust and estates attorneys, so about 30 attorneys, some investment professionals, life insurance professionals, and others. And during that morning, the word collaboration and collaborate came up quite often. And it became clear to me that there was never a definition, there was never a description of the process, and nobody really seemed to know what it meant. So it sounded good, but it never seems to get put into action. So we're going to talk about that this morning. I also need to communicate. And communicate to me means empowerment. And it's putting advisors and clients in a position where they can make good decisions, where the client can make the best decisions for himself, or herself, and their families. As Andy Reid often says, the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, he always says, especially after a loss, I need to put players in a position where they can make plays. I think our job is to put advisors and clients in a position where they can make decisions. Finally, in the sales process or the consulting process, I need to close. And I don't mean that in the traditional sense. What I really mean is that the great end of life is not knowledge, it's action. And when clients understand, when advisors understand, they can make decisions quickly, and they do. Let's take a look at a typical sales process, or what the sales processes we see in our industry. We have a number of people who are promoters in our industry, people who have really sold products or techniques, sales techniques, and it's sort of top-down. We've seen these over the years, 412I, 419, Ioli, Stoli cases, and you know the others. And this can be a very successful way to make money. There are others of us, the way we were brought into the business was to sell or consult bottom up and let the fact pattern determine the kind of solutions that we bring to the table. And this is certainly the basis for the collaborative process. I actually believe that there's an ethical imperative to collaborate. It's the only way that we can really keep the promises that we make to clients, to give them excellent recommendations, excellent products, and flawless implementation, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So there is an ethical imperative to do what we're going to talk about today. I had a client or a potential client in Palm Beach call me and say, Al, I'd really like to do business with you, but I have a problem. Can you help me? I said, what's the problem? He said, I've worked in long-distance relationships before, and they've never been successful. He said, what should we do here? I said, the problem really isn't distance. The problem is process. And what I mean by that is that we need to have different advisors, and they need to communicate. This world is so complex today that not one advisor or one firm can do everything correctly. But what we've experienced are operators operating in silos. It doesn't make any difference whether they're a long distance apart or whether they're in the same city. Unless they communicate, unless they collaborate, we're not going to get the kind of results that we promise to our clients. So let's look at some definitions. And really, I love these definitions of teamwork and collaboration. Teamwork, working together to produce extraordinary results. Coordinated action, move faster without losing intelligence. Move quickly but completely and confidently. It's that speed that Terry Jones was talking about, what our clients want. But that's no excuse for not doing things right. But when you collaborate, things can move much more quickly, and I'll show you that in a couple of cases that are coming up in this presentation. Next, let's look at high-performance collaboration. People working together to accelerate the creation of value, and again, faster than normal. And then finally, a committed focus. That those advisors around the table, those advisors working with clients, share the value of client first. That's a non-negotiable. If there are any advisors with other agendas that are participating in the process, and that's not their objective, the process will probably fail. And that's when I think we run into tension when we work on some of the teams. Now, everybody in this room is familiar with unique ability circles. And really what we're doing when we talk about this complex world is we are moving toward the center and staying in our unique ability in areas of excellence. And what we want to do is we want to have other members on the team who share or who we delegate or are operating in their area of excellence. A trust and estates attorney, a CPA, an investment person, a bank trust officer, a valuation expert, and so forth. And that's sort of what we try to accomplish. So let's talk about a movie-making model. Many years ago, probably 8 to 10 years ago, there was a lot of talk in our industry about multidisciplinary teams. It always struck me that those teams that were being described, attorneys, accountants, insurance people, was always much more about sharing referrals and cross-selling and cross-marketing rather than talking about serving the client. That was almost a secondary concern. So when I talk about teams, I participate on different teams all the time. And when we talk about the movie-making model, is really what I'm talking about are ad hoc teams being formed. So for example, if I want to make a science fiction movie, then I need to bring together those unique abilities, special effects, and all the other things that it takes to make a science fiction movie. And we need to come together, do the project, and then disband. The next movie I make may be a love story, which would require a much different set of unique abilities. And again, we come together, we do the project, and we disband. And it's those kind of teams that we get called into, hopefully, and work. So it's not a static situation. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to take you through a couple of cases that we've done recently. You won't be able probably to see these slides in the back, but you really don't need to because conceptually I can walk you through it. Basically what we have is we were dealing with one of the largest privately held companies in the United States. I got invited to work on this case by the CFO, the treasurer, and the estate planning attorney. And we were trying to coordinate the business planning with the estate planning. We have 3 shareholders and spouses. And really what this page does is it has shareholder 1 on top, spouse, shareholder 2, spouse, etc., and then across 15 insurance companies. So 6 insureds, 15 companies on this page, that's 90 underwriting offers. We have 51 footnotes on this page explaining why the offers are what they are. And since I can't see the chart either, let me read one. If we look at shareholder 2 and we read across the underwriting offers, what we see is we see postponed, uninsurable, table F, uninsurable, table 6, standard, declined, table F, and so forth. One standard. We look at footnote 25 on this shareholder, and it says rating is due to shareholder 2's diagnosis of hypertensive cardiomyopathy. Now, the shareholders permitted all of us to share this information. The value of this piece is where we can really speed the process. And now they know that we worked very hard to find the best offers for them. So that gave the shareholders a tremendous amount of confidence. Secondly, we never received a question why we had different insurance solutions for each shareholder with different companies, because they could see that we were focused on the underwriting offer. Next, in this situation, we had to find a way to show what insurance they already had, what we were going to do with it, whether we were going to keep it or replace it, and then the new insurance that we were going to do. So we did about $200 million of life insurance in this sale. We had 2 meetings with the shareholders. one meeting up front where we described the process and talked about amounts of insurance and the reasons for it. And in that meeting were the CFO, the treasurer, the estate planning attorney, myself, and the shareholders. We had one meeting at the end of the process, exactly 90 days later. At that meeting, we had the results for them, we had the packages for them, and actually at that meeting, we signed the applications. So, communication, empowerment, is sort of the basis for this process where decisions can and will be made very quickly. This is another case that we worked on, and we have a client who's worth about $250 million. And all of that money will go to charity and to his foundation, the couple's foundation, at the second death. But he wanted to have another $25 million for each of his two children. And so the client called me and told me that he wanted to buy $50 million of insurance. The client is very analytical. His attorney and their team is very analytical. So this one page probably has 1,000 illustrations behind it. And all this page shows, we had to do some private financing here. This shows sort of the final result, conceptually, that we got to, where we had 3-year tranches of loans, and then we did annual loans after that. But during the process, the client or the advisors wanted to see a single payer, a single loan, and maybe do 9-year tranches. So that's what, but we always used this format. And when you collaborate, if you can put a communication tool out there, again, to empower, the clients can act quickly and make decisions. And that's precisely what they did, again, in this case. One of the great benefits of collaboration is the speed that we talked about when going through the process. This is sort of a graphical representation of my process, how to do 80% of estate planning in 20% of the time normally required. And what you see here on the vertical axis is the probability of successful plan implementation. And in the processes in which I'm involved, you can see that there's a very high probability of success if, in fact, we can get implementation in the first 60 to 90 days. If we are out 180 days in the process that we use, and we have not accomplished or taken action in any way, then it's probably not going to happen. Collaboration, as I said earlier in the presentation, is an ethical imperative. Not only in the beginning and through the process, but at the end. And when we have the checks and balances, we dot the I's and we cross the T's. The clients have great satisfaction, the team has done its job, and then we disband and wait for another project to happen. Ladies and gentlemen at the top of the table, it's been a great privilege for me to stand up here today and present to you the best insurance professionals in the world. Thank you.
That concludes this program. For additional information on the $1 Million Roundtable products and services, contact the Marketing and Communications Department at 847-692-6378 or visit the web at www.mdrtpowercenter.org.